Desperate for a win. Tonight at Jordan-Hare, Kentucky and Auburn under the lights.
Welcome to SEC Saturday night.
There's a party going on around town. It's one rowdy cowboy throwdown. Miles around, best of the best come here to put their tough to the test. Give it all for gold or go home broke. When they open up that gate, welcome to the show, welcome to the home of the world's biggest rodeo, where the stars light up the night underneath that Texas sky. Welcome to the show, are you ready for a ride? Yeah, you better buckle up and hold on tight, where the Bayou City streets meet the country roads. Welcome to the show.
From Jordan-Hare Stadium in Auburn, Alabama, you're watching SEC Saturday Night, presented by T-Mobile 5G Home Internet. Despite the season struggles, the crowd is back. It's a school record 20th consecutive sellout. And tonight, the Kentucky Wildcats come to town looking for their first conference win of the season against an Auburn team coming off of a tight one on the road at Arkansas. The Tigers trying to get repeat wins in the league for the first time this year. And here come the Auburn Tigers. Well, the breaking news in Auburn this week is that there will be a new starting quarterback in this game tonight. Senior Stanford transfer Ashton Daniels finished the Arkansas game, played the entire second half. The defense helped him a win in the fourth quarter, and now he'll get the call for the first time in his Auburn career instead of Jackson Arnold. Hugh Freeze making this change to try to get the offense going, and it remains to be seen just how it plays out. And Freeze in this Auburn program are trying to find some semblance of momentum and electricity on the offensive end, as good as the defense has been all season long. Let's get you to the field. Here's Alyssa Lang with head coach Hugh Freeze.
Coach, you've made the decision to start Ashton tonight. Why?
Just looking for a spark, Alyssa. Jackson's done a lot of great things, but we've lost so many close games. Just trying to see if Ashton has something that gives us another spark to get us over the hump.
What is your plan for Jackson tonight?
Oh, he's ready. You know, we'll see how Ashton does. As a coach, you always make decisions that you think are best for your team, but you never really know. So, but Jackson has handled it like a pro, and he's going to be ready to roll tonight if he's called upon.
Thanks, Coach.
Thank you.
All right, Alyssa, thank you. Jackson Arnold has been down this road before. Same situation last year at Oklahoma. Welcome to the broadcast booth. Tom Hart alongside Cole Kublik. If you look at the numbers from last week against Arkansas, outside of a Jackson Arnold interception, they're eerily similar. So what does Auburn gain by going with the transfer quarterback?
I think a little bit of safety. That interception that you mentioned, Tom, absolutely killed the momentum of this football team. Maybe a smooth operator in Ashton Daniels, somebody who just has a better idea of when to take care of the football, why to take care of the football, situational awareness. There's an it factor. The intangibles are there with Ashton Daniels that maybe Jackson Arnold hasn't quite developed just yet.
Meanwhile, on the other side for this Kentucky program, they took full advantage of the bye week a few weeks ago to get Cutter Boley comfortable and to create an offensive scheme around his skill set. The freshman setting records each of his last two outings.
Well, pushing the football down the field has been the biggest part of that. Throwing the football without throwing the football is what we continue to hear this Kentucky staff as we've had them a couple of times in the last month. But he is growing the awareness of when to leave the pocket, how to leave the pocket, when you have the ability to push the football down the field and not really put the ball in harm's way. There was a ton of growth with what we saw from Cutter Boley a week ago. And we'll have to have more of it against a really stingy Auburn defense tonight.
Yeah, that will be the biggest challenge, and specifically to a game plan. How do Auburn's strengths match up with what Kentucky wants to accomplish?
Well, you look at the three things Kentucky needs to do on offense tonight, Tom. They need their receivers to help them out. Quick, simple throws, get yards after the catch. Auburn, third in the nation in yards per catch. You got to get to the quarterback. Auburn does that well. How are you going to protect Cutter Boley? Auburn, third in the nation in pressure rate. and the run game's got to get going to protect this young quarterback. Auburn's stingy against the rush as well.
Kentucky won the toss, elected to defer, so Auburn will receive, and DJ Durkin's defense will wait a beat before they see the field. Two desperate programs trying to find the win column. Aiden LaRosse has the ball on the tee for Kentucky, and an elite return man, Rayshawn Pleasant, waits for Auburn back at the goal line. Auburn has won 4 straight in this series. The Tigers have won 19 of 20 head-to-head with the Cats. Ready to go. And welcome to SEC Saturday night. Pleasant from 3 yards deep. And he gets sandwiched at the 15-yard line. So here we go. Ashton Daniels, who grew up just a couple of hours east of here in Atlanta, won 3 straight championships at Powerhouse Buford. He led fourth-quarter comebacks in all 3 state championship games. 20 starts over 3 seasons and a degree at Stanford, and his first start as an Auburn Tiger tonight. Jeremiah Cobb is his running back. They'll throw on first down, and a quick hitter to the perimeter. Cam Coleman suffered through an ankle injury last week, picks up 5.5. Let's get to know our impact players tonight.
David Gusta, the gigantic nose guard for the Kentucky Wildcats, going to be working against one of the youngest players in college football. Cale Ellis getting the start at center with Connor Lew out. Tom, Auburn wants to run the football between the tackles. That's a matchup we're going to have our eyes on all evening.
Kentucky has faced a young center already this season 2 games ago against Texas. We'll see if they attack the same way. This time off right tackle, it's Cobb, who has consecutive 100-yard games, the second best rusher in the league, and he picks up a first down.
Not attacking it the way you're referencing. It was Texas where they had a backup center in the game. And Brad White, Kentucky defensive coordinator, did a great job with some zero nose, head up on the center, slanting the defensive tackles into the center, trying to pick him off from not working combos, in more of an even front there, allowing Cale Ellis to be able to climb up to the linebacker.
Daniels will operate out of the shotgun. This Auburn win on the road last week against Arkansas was buoyed by great defensive fourth-quarter performance. There's a huge hit in the hole and a gain of only 1. David Rayner came in to lay the lick on Cobb.
Whew. Trading some paint early. Jeremiah Cobb, he doesn't give you the stature physically when you just look at him, but runs like that make you gain respect for him in a hurry. Not afraid to put that helmet down, try to work his way through a defender for extra yards.
Second in the league in rush yards, 4th in yards per game, and second in rushing touchdowns behind Ahmad Hardy at Mizzou.
And here you'll get that zero nose, Tom, with big David Gusta.
Little game up front. Cobb runs into trouble and a lose a yard. It's Rayner again.
Boy, and you had it. You mentioned it, Tom, a game. So you run the stunt where the nose guard's going to loop around the defensive tackle, but that defensive tackle does exactly what we were referencing from Brad White. He slants down inside and picks the center. Doesn't allow for those combo blocks at the line of scrimmage.
Auburn has struggled mightily on third down this season. They went 0 for 13 in their loss to Texas A&M. Here comes a 4-man rush. Daniels has to leave the pocket, and on the run fires down the sideline, incomplete. Trying to find Cam Coleman.
A little bit of a panic throw near the sideline by Ashton Daniels. And Brad White does an excellent job of forcing the protection to slide to the offense's right. You overload that side, but you drop the in-man on the line of scrimmage. You get a delayed blitz from the linebacker. And Alex Afari, the former safety, able to work right through Jeremiah Cobb to put pressure on the quarterback.
Hudson Cock is the punter for Auburn. And the electric Kendrick Law backed up to his 27. Found a hole initially, and then gets gang tackled after a 47-yard punt, 9 on the return. Kentucky will be on offense on this Halloween weekend when we return. Freshman Kentucky native Cutter Boley making another start for the Cats, his 6th start of this young career, and he's gotten better each and every time out, coming off of a career-high 330 yards against Tennessee. Thank you, Taylor. Welcome to Auburn. After Mississippi State's conference losing streak comes to an end at 16 in a row, it's Kentucky now, which has lost 10 in a row. They're looking for their first this season. Tom Hart, Cole Kublik, Alyssa Lang down on the field after Auburn punted away on its first possession. Freshman quarterback Cutter Boley going to work for the Cats, looking at a 2nd and 7. Boley 6'5", 220. The staff thinks this is a guy who will turn into an NFL quarterback, but still getting his feet wet at this level. To the perimeter, and Kendrick Law. And Cole, that's exactly what Kentucky has dialed up lately. Short throws and hoping for breakaway plays.
Throwing the football without throwing the football. There he is last week, though, making the most out of a little. Some of those easy, high percentage throws turned into some throws down the field later in the game, and he had a career afternoon. But against this defense, Tom, one that's 3rd in the nation in yards per catch, it's not just going to be the quick ones that can get you home.
Tied the freshman record. Jared Lorenzen, one of the names on that list. That's elite company in Kentucky lore.
Overload front to the right side of the line.
Boley pressured from the blind side, and he escapes it and steps up in the pocket, but not enough for the first down. And near midfield, we'll see what Mark Stoops decides to do. They'll bring on the punt team.
Kieron Crawford, the super flexible bendy edge defender, is going to be to the right side of your screen. Watch him work on Alex Wollenschlager here. Just gets the hands up, then will dip and rip around the outside. Xavier Atkins going to finish it off. The star linebacker for this Auburn defense that has been out of his mind the last couple weeks.
Aiden LaRosse to punt it away. Malcolm Simmons back for Auburn. He's been battling injuries over the last week or so. Both teams really banged up this time of year. Kentucky missing 10 scholarship players tonight due to injury. That punt is perfect, and it's down inside the 5. They'll mark it at the 2-yard line. So it'll be a long field for Ashton Daniels. The senior from Atlanta, Georgia, got his degree from Stanford, 3 seasons playing for the Cardinal. He comes from a Georgia family. His mom, Hadley, was a volleyball star. His dad, Juan, was a wide receiver at Georgia. Now they wear the Auburn colors, and this was their reaction pregame as their son, Ashton, was announced as the starting quarterback. And Alyssa Lang will get to you in a second. It seems like their emotions are very similar to what Ashton shared with us when he ran out of the tunnel earlier this season, even when he wasn't started. Alyssa?
Yeah, the story of the Auburn lore in the Daniels family certainly goes deep. We will tell you that coming up later tonight. But as you said, Tom, he told us coming out in that night kickoff against the Georgia Bulldogs is exactly why he wanted to come here to Auburn. He described the emotions as, I feel like I blacked out. I looked up into the stands and everyone was going nuts. The atmosphere was unbelievable. Can only imagine how he's feeling right now, starting under the lights here at Jordan-Hare.
3 state championships at Buford High School in suburban Atlanta. He dreamed of playing in the SEC, but had to go out west to make it work and finally come back towards home.
How cool was that reaction from his parents? Watching their son come out as the Auburn starting quarterback, and ties to this program that run deep. Father played at Georgia, obviously played in this stadium against this football team, but being able to watch your son be announced as the starter running out inside Jordan-Hare Stadium, pretty special moment for those two.
Can't bear to watch. It's 3rd and 8. Maybe they're watching on the app. Auburn picked up 1 first down in its opening possession. Second try at it. Kentucky sends the house, and they convert it over the middle to the tight end, Brandon Frazier, and he's going to be marked good enough for the first down.
Really nice finish to this play by Brandon Frazier. And he's a young man that Hugh Freeze mentioned when we met with him yesterday. when he's not in the lineup, they miss him a lot. Look at the poise in the pocket from Ashton Daniels. There's no rush. He sees man coverage out to the left, doesn't want to deliver that football, comes back over the middle to his tight end. Nice, easy, catchable throw, and Frazier finishes for a first down.
Ashton, when we talked to him this week, raved about the Auburn coaching staff. He said, quite frankly, I've never been coached like this in my life. As a result, he's still developing as a passer. That one on the edge to Cam Coleman, battling through an ankle injury. Nasir Addison pressed into coverage this week for Kentucky. Ryan Nichols is not available tonight, one of those that's injured. Second down 4. And a handoff to Jeremiah Cobb, and that will leave 3rd and maybe a yard, maybe a yard and a half. What do you go with here?
Nice use of tempo there. For me, you have the mobility at quarterback. I asked Hugh Freeze on the field, Tom, do you trust him with all of your Q run package? He said absolutely. The entire playbook's open to him. He's a little bit of a different style runner than Jackson Arnold, but Hugh Freeze says he thinks he has a better feel of the run game. I wouldn't be surprised to have something that at least gives Ashton Daniels the option to keep this football.
Cobb off of his left hip, one of the best running backs in the SEC. This will be a straight throw. Daniels flush from the pocket. Now he'll tuck, and the cutback, and that field earns him a first down and an ovation from this Auburn crowd. Mike Keys Humphrey Grace with the tackle for Kentucky.
Boy, an excellent job, and he had the check down to his backup at the top of the field open, but being able to elude the rush, and these are some of those intangibles we mentioned earlier in the broadcast. When to tuck the football, when to run the football, how to get outside of the pocket. Has a feel for where that first down marker is, knows he's going to have to take some contact. Excellent play from the Auburn quarterback.
It should be noted that while Hugh Freeze went away from Jackson Arnold and named Ashton Daniels the starter for this one, he told us he could very easily go to Arnold at any time. Jump ball on the sideline is incomplete. And the point of that being he's looking for a spark, as he told Alyssa pregame. If he doesn't get it, he's got Arnold sitting on the sideline and will go right back to him.
And he said Jackson Arnold has handled it like a pro, that he has been consummate professional through this process. It mirrors exactly what we heard from Brent Venables at Oklahoma a year ago, Tom. We had them a little bit later in the year, and Venables raved about how Arnold handled that.
Former 5-star recruit, been benched twice now in 2 seasons. Here's a check. Play clock is now at 3. At 1, and they get it off. Cobb searching for a hole.
You also see Auburn mixing up this tempo here a little bit. Check with me over to the sideline, hurrying up to the line of scrimmage, getting another run play in. Now 3rd and long, not going to be able to take advantage of those things. Switching up the snap count early for Ashton Daniels. Everything at his disposal to give them some advantages.
Auburn has struggled mightily on 3rd down this season, especially in the second half of league games. They're at about 13%. But 2 for 3 so far this evening. 3rd down 8. Pressure. Daniels with a pump fake. Cuts it back in. And that'll leave him 2.5 yards short. And they'll send the punt team back out.
It was the right decision from Ashton Daniels. Man coverage on Cam Coleman at the top of the screen. And the reaction from the corner on that comeback route was one that easily could have intercepted that football, so he tucks it and decides to run. It was the right play from the Auburn quarterback.
Hudson Cock, an Australian, on to punt it away. Kendrick Law, the dangerous catch last time, and asked for a fair catch and catches that one nearly above his head. A 50-yard punt from Cock. 4:52 remaining in the first quarter at Auburn. No score.
SEC Saturday Night is presented by T-Mobile 5G Home Internet. If you didn't know T-Mobile has home internet, you do now.
The beauty of Toomer's Lemonade is it's good no matter the season. This Halloween weekend, Cats fans hanging out, at least they're dressed as Kentucky fans, maybe undercover, never know. Let's break down the game of Bobby Jamison Travis.
This young man's been so critical to this Auburn defense this year. Ask him to stunt. The job here, Tom, is to pick the center and occupy two offensive linemen. Instead, he just removes him from the gap and forces Taylon Green outside of the pocket, which leads to a Xavier Atkins sack. But this is where he's shown up as of late. His quickness, a little bit of burst off the line of scrimmage. Whoop, a swim move into the backfield for the TFL. Now, that's not his specialty. He's going to eat blocks and allow these linebackers to run and make plays, but he's been vital to the Auburn defense's success this year.
Seth McGowan is back for Kentucky. Didn't play last week against Tennessee. Been in a red jersey all week, according to Mark Stoops, but giving it a go tonight. And he's taken down by Keldrick Falk on first down.
You know, Keldrick Falk's one of the guys that gets a lot of the headlines, deservingly so, but some of the bigger bodies up front that not as many people talk about. DJ Durkin will tell you they're the ones that deserve just a little bit more love for how successful Auburn's been on defense this year.
An elite Auburn defense, 8th in the country against the run. Bully, play action, lets it go deep. It is overthrown and nearly picked. DJ Miller had to turn into a defensive back and keep Loudon Austin from hauling it in.
DJ Miller with the excellent play and had a massive game for this Wildcat offense a week ago. Big, tall body. You don't mind throwing in the jump ball, but Tom, you can't throw him the jump ball in the cover two with safety help right over the top. Fortunate the Wildcats are to have a third down attempt here.
Bully's thrown 5 interceptions this season, but he's not the type of personality that gets rattled by his mistakes. They show blitz. He goes over the middle to Kendrick Law, and Law stays on his feet for another 5. That's a first down of 18.
It's an excellent job of Cutter Boley getting rid of the football, throwing the ball without throwing the ball. This almost falls into that category just a little bit. You know it has to get out on time. That's a punt block formation that Auburn's throwing up defensively that DJ Durkin calls. Knew he had one-on-one coverage, got it out on time. Nice play.
Law had a monster game against Tennessee on only 2 catches last week. Dante Dowdell is now in a running back, and they are trucking dudes over the right side.
Just a nice combo block inside. Jagger Burton comes off late on Xavier Atkins, who runs through the front side B gap in between the guard and tackle. Not a misfit, but maybe a little bit too aggressive. That allowed the back to cut a little bit early and pick up a few extra yards.
Second down for the freshman quarterback Cutter Boley. Law in motion. They go play action again. Looking for another deep shot, and he floats one to the sideline, and that one's nearly picked. Pleasant had 2 in the fourth quarter against Arkansas, but was across the sideline and out of bounds.
Well, you just wonder if this game were to stay tight for 4 quarters, you're going to look back at a couple of these moments, the Auburn secondary with opportunities for takeaways. Foot just on the white stripe there, unable to haul that one in.
Auburn had 4 takeaways in the fourth quarter against Arkansas. 3 picks, a fumble recovery, and one of those picks went for 6. Another long one from Boley, and that is out of bounds wide of DJ Miller. And that'll bring it into this Kentucky possession.
It's like a lot of these balls are coming out high from Cutter Boley, so the ball kind of sailing on him as soon as it leaves its hand. The ball just going up the trajectory a little bit on the last couple of passes. We've seen him be accurate. I haven't really seen that on every throw tonight.
Well, we didn't see Kentucky attack downfield like that against Tennessee nor against Texas. More of a horizontal passing game against their last 2 league foes. Aiden LaRoche to punt it away. Malcolm Simmons pushed back inside the 15, and a fair catch taken at the 11. 49-yard punt from LaRoche. The rock fight continues. We'll still scoreless. Another crack at it for Ashton Daniels. been a season of heartbreak for Auburn and its fan base. Just 1-4 in league play, but could be oh so different. September 21st, Isaiah Sategna was allowed to score on a misapplication of a rule. And then October 11th, this Jackson Arnold fumble occurred right before Auburn was about to go 17-0 up on Kirby Smart's team. He had a weird way of clapping. They said that was a timeout. That bailed him out. And then Missouri, in overtime loss. Alex McPherson, who's had a tough season, tough 2 years from a health standpoint, went just 1 for 4. He bounced back in a big way against Arkansas. And so when Hugh Freeze talks about wanting a spark and looking to Ashton Daniels for a spark, it's like trying to find a ray of positivity.
I think it's a little bit of wherewithal, Tom, just an understanding of more situational football, that it doesn't always have to be 1,000 miles an hour all the time. You can take a check down. You have to have the understanding of when to kind of live and survive to play another play. Ashton Daniels, with his experience, brings a little bit more of that. Hugh Freeze referenced experience with him about 5 or 6 different instances when we talked to him yesterday.
And he has shown that in winning ways at a couple different stops. This one on the out route, complete to Cam Coleman, who breaks a tackle and picks up a first down. He shooed away Nasir Adderson, who's getting a rare start tonight due to injury.
You don't need a lot of experience to understand when you get that kind of cushion and you have an out route call to your big physical wide receiver, feed him and let him shove defenders to the ground.
Addison has only played in 2 games this season. This is his first start. Teron Nichols is out with an injury as they turn to Cobb again. Back to Ashton Daniels at Stanford last year in a game against North Carolina State. He set a Stanford quarterback rushing record with 129 yards. That's how he was used initially with the Cardinal, as a dual threat, but mainly run-first quarterback. Over 5,000 total yards in 3 seasons, and he was late coming to the Plains, stuck around to pick up his degree from Stanford before he made it to camp with the Tigers. On second down, tried to thread the needle, incomplete. Off the hands of Coleman.
Gotta have it. It's one of the things you and I talked to him about yesterday with Alyssa, that development has come a little bit faster here than it did other places. Just one of the things Jason Campbell, an all-time Auburn great, told me as well, that he hasn't been through a spring game here.
They're going tempo on third down. Caught Kentucky in a line change. Daniels flicks it down the field and out of bounds, avoiding the sack.
Just does not have that game experience in an Auburn uniform. Doesn't have the understanding of what that's been like. Pressure going to come from the right side of your screen.
Is wearing number 41.
Once again, Brad White, we mentioned, going to do different things through those 2 A gaps and directly over the center. He knows he has a lot of youth at that spot. Wants to try to take advantage of it to be able to create penetration and pressure.
19 plays for the Auburn offense tonight, only 63 total yards. Here's Cock again. He's had a busy night already. And he drives one towards Kendrick Law, angled to the sideline, and down at the 26. 42-yard punt. Great night to be a punter, but the quarterbacks have yet to get it going. Cutter Boley just 2 for 5 through the air so far. His last 2 games in terms of getting vertical or horizontal with the passing game, Coley's averaged just 5.2 yards depth of target, which means there's been a lot of very short passes coming from Boley.
Well, the other part of this is it's going to be dictated by the defense. DJ Durkin has played a little press man on the outside, hasn't had safety help on a lot of these plays. Cutter Boley's going to have to throw Kentucky out of those looks. He can't run into 8-9 defenders in the box.
He nearly threw a pair of picks on the last Kentucky drive that lasted 6 plays. They moved the pocket, huge gap for him to run, and he dives forward to pick up a few more.
And that doesn't look like a design play. It doesn't look like something you want your quarterback to have to do, but I do believe that's a little bit a part of the understanding of the operation that Cutter Boley has come a long way with in the last couple weeks. When to tuck the football, just take the yards that are available.
Comes from an athletic family. His dad played basketball at Western Kentucky. His sister Erin was a Gatorade National Player of the Year on the hardwood. Spent 3 seasons at Oregon. Boley pulls it back and created some magic. It's a first down run for the freshman, just when McGowan got destroyed.
Well, when you hear attack the mesh, Amaris Williams just put that in Webster's dictionary.
That's the end of the first quarter.
Seth McGowan, pretty good decoy on this play.
Absolutely. Feel like he's going to be fed this football. And 10, Amaris Williams for the Auburn defense flies in to crash that mess. Cutter Boley with an excellent read. Scoots ahead for first down yardage for the Cats.
Capacity crowd at Jordan-Hare hasn't seen a point scored yet. Moments ago, Alyssa Lang with Mark Stoops.
Coach, what have you told Cutter to settle into this game so far?
Yeah, he was just a little off early. You know, he's making some good reads right there. They're making him pull it a little bit. He's got to get tough yards when he can. And he rushed a few, but he's settling in. He'll be good.
Thank you, Coach.
Okay, thank you.
In fact, he just ran for a first down to close the first quarter, and they converge on Kendrick Law, who somehow gets through. Law is able to scramble up the sideline on that throw behind the line of scrimmage and pick up 9 yards.
High percentage throw from Cutter Boley, and Kendrick Law going to do the work. This Auburn defense has not been guilty of much this season. Two defenders come up, have opportunities, Kayan Lee and Sylvester Smith. But Kendrick Law, that's a 400-pound bencher. He's pound for pound one of the strongest players on this field tonight, showing you why.
They'll indeed mark it as a first down, and it's the first time tonight that either team has crossed the threshold of midfield. Josh Caddis in motion. Movement on the right side, and Boley mishandled the handoff. It results in a loss of yardage for Seth McGowan.
Seth McGowan critical to this football team. Just the attitude, the demeanor that he brings. Cutter Boley was actually fortunate to get that handoff to his tailback. But a guy we're going to mention a lot tonight, Xavier Atkins, just it feels like he has a beat on almost everything that comes his way defensively the last couple of weeks.
He has been a monster. 4 sacks over his last 2 outings. Kentucky faced with a 2nd and 15 now. McGowan full head of steam, and he cuts back against the grain. But a beautiful run to pick up the first down before Jacquez Robinson brings him down after a pickup of 18.
So it's an interesting cut here on this play, Tom. What you're going to get is you're going to pull this backside guard here, and then McGowan's going to cut back to where the puller came from. Just a massive cutback, a loss of contained backside from DJ Durkin's defense.
One of the top rushing defenses in the country coming into tonight, but that's where Kentucky on this drive has found success. McGowan again, bottled up, picked up a couple. Xavier Atkins there. Atkins is coming off of another 10-plus tackle game. He was the SEC co-defensive player of the week against Arkansas. 13 tackles, 2 sacks, 4 tackles behind the line of scrimmage, and a forced fumble. How's that for filling out the stat sheet?
It's a lot, and one of the reasons he was able to do it again, big 97 in front of him. Bobby Travis Jamison eating up that double team.
LSU transfer barely played for Brian Kelly's team before making the move here to Auburn. Boley backtracks and throws wide of his tight end Caddis. Talking with Bush Handman, the offensive coordinator this week, and before the game tonight, the Kentucky tight ends are key to this attack, but both Josh Caddis and Willie Rodriguez have been limited throughout practice the last few weeks. 3rd down 9. th consecutive sellout here at Jordan-Hare.
DJ Durkin going to overload left side of this offensive line, trying to get them to slide the protection that way.
4-man rush. Boley takes off, cuts back, and will be taken down at the 30. Just a gain of 2. And they'll bring on the kicking team and Jacob Coway. Coway's long this season is 51. Cool night here on the plains, no breeze to speak of, and he's got it spotted right in the middle of the field for what will be a 48-yard attempt. Looking for our first points of the night. And he splits the uprights from 48 out. And Kentucky draws first blood after a 9-play, 44-yard drive. Might be this kind of night. Big night for the kickers. Not much scoring so far. 5 minutes into the second quarter. 3-0 Cats. Time for Fansville, brought to you by Dr. Pepper, and we feature the 37th annual Pumpkin Carve, hosted yesterday by students from the College of Architecture, Design, and Construction in the Dudley Courtyard. Special thanks to our newest friends, James Moisier, Camilla Strickland, and Oliver Trollard, who took time during their pumpkin carving to do a couple of special ones for us. And they'll be going back in Cole's truck with the ESPN logo.
Oh no, I would never do that.
Why not?
My wife would freak out if she saw that last picture of all those pumpkins.
She's got to be a fan of Gorge. She married you.
The anxiety of the squirrels just having a field day with all those open pumpkins would drive her bananas.
Sorry you missed the Gorge joke. Plenty of those coming from the studio. A lot to catch you up on. Let's get you back to Charlotte. Here's Dari. Dari, as we know, he's not your Mason Thomas. He is our Mason Thomas. What a scene tonight at Neyland Stadium. Going dark mode. We were there for that event last year. It is something special. Ashton Daniels first start as a Tiger, and he gets swallowed up and dropped. First sack of the night for Kentucky. And this is an Auburn program, Cole, that's trying to figure out who's best at leading them, and they've got an elite one in Deuce Knight waiting in the wings.
He's a freshman quarterback. I understand. Everybody wants to see him get his chance, thinks he's ready to just step in and play. It's a little more complicated than that. Yes, he has the talent. Hugh Freeze believes he's going to be a great one. Just not ready to handle everything that comes with it right this second.
Well, when we were here a couple of weeks ago from Missouri, a quarterback draw, and he's taken down again. A failure on the Auburn offensive line, and another big stop for the Cats.
So you're going to get a twist up front that's going to allow penetration here, and then Luke Mann is going to come right back into the front side B gap of this run play. So Ashton Daniels running right back into the looper. It's an excellent call by Brad White, Kentucky defensive coordinator. Sometimes, you know what, you walk right into those plays, but it's executed well by those Kentucky defenders up front,
including Austin Ramsey, and it leaves Auburn with 3rd and 19. Daniels overthrows Jeremiah Cobb. Going back to our visit with Hugh Freeze earlier this season, talking about the quarterback situation. He was ready to use Daniels in that Missouri game, but never found the opportunity. In addition to that, he said, listen, Ashton wants to be here. We want him here. We'd love to get him another year. You can only play 4 regular season games without burning a red shirt. As Jackson Arnold's got a spot on the chairs over there. And so the way it maps out from a calendar perspective, you still have a non-conference against Mercer, and maybe that becomes the Deuce Knight game.
There was a hint of that actually dropped to us by Hugh Freeze, Tom, and I think I was surprised, like most Auburn fans would be, that the way Hugh Freeze talked about potentially bringing Ashton Daniels back for next year and saying that Mercer game, hey, maybe that's a Deuce Knight game.
Meanwhile, it's a Cutter Bowling game for Kentucky. They lead 3-0. quarterback Cutter Boley is from Hodgenville, Kentucky. That's in the valley of the North Fork of the Nolan River, if you're keeping track. And Alyssa, he grew up a Kentucky fan, and it helped when he was struggling to hear from some Kentucky legends.
Yeah, he certainly was excited to hear from the legendary quarterback Andre Woodson, who called him to lend him some advice from somebody who's been in that situation before. And when you look at both of their journeys, they started similarly, struggling in their first start ever against South Carolina. Of course, 20 years apart between Woodson and Boley. Boley said it was so great to hear from him, not only as a Cats fan, but as someone who has walked in the exact same shoes. Obviously, Andre Woodson went on to be a Kentucky legend. They're excited about what Cutter Boley could end up doing in his career, too.
No doubt about it, and part of it was keep your head up. Things are going to go well. You're just learning the game. Boley threw a pick-6 against Florida last year. He came off the sideline, and he was so loose that Veteran Sports Information Director Tony Neely was a little worried going into the post-game interviews. He said, "Nah, I'll be fine." He doesn't get rattled, and that might be stressful for a coaching staff, but they also appreciate that he's even keeled.
His demeanor is one that stays the same the entire time. And hearing Bush Hamdan tell us that his mom even warned him of how it has driven her crazy for the last 15 years was pretty cool to hear Bush talk about it in that way.
It was a devastating start against South Carolina. Turned it over on 3 straight possessions and basically lost the game in the second quarter. And as that applies to Auburn's defense, I asked DJ Durkin, you think that can be contagious? Takeaways can? Referring to the fourth quarter against Arkansas. And he said, I certainly hope so, because we could be a problematic, chaotic defense. Meanwhile, after that catch, Willie Rodriguez limped over to the Kentucky sideline, took his helmet off, frustrated that it looks like his ankle injury is back or not fully healed. 3rd and short. McGowan takes a direct snap. A little nod to JoJo Kemp, is able to pick up the first down for Kentucky.
I was going to go Boone Williams, but nonetheless, nice job using a little bit of deception with the direct snap to Seth McGowan. You're going to pull the backside guard and tackle, and you see that burst by McGowan being able to just shoot forward. The power that he's able to run with. Tough to see from that angle if he actually picked up that first down yardage, where the ball was when he's taken down.
Fresh set of downs for Cutter Boley. Kentucky sideline racing to get some signals in with plenty of time on the play clock. Pressure from the right side. McGowan trying to find the edge on the left. Gets tripped up but no gain.
Boy, I tell you, excellent play from Keldrick Faulk. Plays like this, you see exactly why he's going to be drafted as high as he is. Working through 2 blocks out there on the edge, able to still grab penetration and force that run to spill towards the sideline in the effort to be able to push Seth McGowan out of bounds.
Guys, Kentucky tight end Willie Rodriguez just limped into the locker room. I'll get you an update when I have one.
Leaves 2nd and 9 for the Cats. He was at least moving good running back to the locker room. Three-man rush. Boley with a spy on him, goes over the middle to the other tight end. This is Josh Caddis. He takes it past midfield on a gain of 11.
Boy, what a read from Cutter Boley. And this is the one thing Xavier Atkins told us he likes to do more than anything else, Tom. 17 for the Auburn defense. He said he likes kind of that spy green dog role where he's able to wait, be patient, and then attack the quarterback. Cutter Boley saw that and able to find Josh Caddis, one of the more valuable football players on this Kentucky roster, for first down yardage.
It's Law in motion. A lot of window dressing. Boley incomplete. Aiming for DJ Miller. He's the first Kentucky freshman with consecutive 100-yard games since 1995.
This is one of those balls similar to what we talked about earlier in the game. Just almost feels like it comes out wrong a little bit for Cutter Boley, trying to take some juice off of it and float it up there to the sensational freshman wide receiver, and the ball sails on it.
Clapp got Auburn moving. See if it also got Kentucky moving. And they'll say indeed it did. Do the first flag either side.
Number 50 on the offense. 5-yard penalty. Second down.
And the right tackle Alex Wolfschlager jump thanks to David Smith, our white hat tonight.
A little bit of a flinch there, and I tell you what, they had, it appeared to be duo called an inside run play with a really nice cutback lane for Seth McGowan. But one of the things I'm noticing, Tom, is the assistance that Jagger Burton is giving Cutter Boley when he is lined up in that shotgun position. You'll see him signals things back with his left hand. He's pointing to the other offensive lineman. A lot of traffic being directed by the elder statesman at center.
42nd start for the Cats on that O-line. Swing out to McGowan, and he stepped out of bounds after a gain of just 1.
Flood concept to the sideline almost had Josh Caddis about 10-15 yards down the field open, but maybe the right decision there by Cutter Boley not to be too high risk, go back to throwing the football without throwing the football. All that play is right there is an extension of the run game.
Cats 2 for 5 on third down. Dante Dowdell is the third down back. 8th play of this drive. They got a ways to go. Auburn drops 8 with a spy again. Boley floats one on a crossing route. Nothing doing for DJ Miller. And this incredibly talented Auburn secondary, led by Rashawn Pleasant, comes up with another big stop.
Well, he's really come into his own here in the last couple of weeks as well. Obviously, the interceptions as of late, but that's one of those things the Auburn defense does not do too often, is allow those one-on-one situations to turn into bonus yards for the offense. Excellent open field tackle.
Here's Aiden LaRosse punting to Malcolm Simmons. LaRosse was bothered by his College Football 26 video game rating. Coley came in with 0 toughness. I can relate. Fair catch asked for, and it nearly knocked Simmons over. 38-yard punt. Ashton Daniels back out to lead this Auburn offense, which has yet to find the end zone across midfield tonight. Well, Ashton Daniels raved about this coaching staff and working with quarterback coach Ken Austin. He said, one of the things I never realized got in the way of me spinning the ball, the length of my fingers. I didn't realize I had big hands. How does that impact you?
Well, I think a lot of times it can force your grip inherently to just be too tight. And that's one of the things that he said he was doing, is he was holding the ball a little bit too tight in certain throws that didn't require that. I asked Jason Campbell, former Auburn quarterback, about that also, and he said, also, it keeps you maybe from cupping the football sometimes when you need to. So your grip on the football maybe gets away from where the fundamentals would ask it to be.
We're going to turn to the ground game, and this is a powerful run by Jeremiah Cobb. Well, Ashton was telling us about some of the things that he was working on when he got here from a technical aspect, and he said, I never got this kind of one-on-one instruction. He was also a lacrosse player in high school, as David Rayner gets shaken up for Kentucky, and the athletic training staff will check on him. But it was surprising that you could spend 3 years in another power program, and I understand he was a run-first quarterback, but then to arrive somewhere else, and it's almost like none of that stuff had been refined to the point that Auburn is now working with.
I think some of that is emphasis points too. He was behind Tanner McKee at Stanford, so how much time is going to be poured into him as maybe the starter? And then too, like you said, if there was a different role for him that maybe took different reps in practice, some coaching staffs aren't going to have a similar emphasis on that. But one of the reasons he said he wanted to come be a part of this team with this coaching staff at this program, because of that guidance he was going to receive.
It was amazing. We're here for the Missouri game, and Jordan and I were watching him warm up, and Jordan said, I've never seen this before, but they're now working with the quarterback on throwing a spiral an hour before kickoff. Rayner will be held to the sideline. He said a couple other things they're working on, shortening his drive step, helping his grip, getting him to loosen his wrist and keep his front shoulder closed. So there's a lot from a technical standpoint they're trying to clean up. 2nd and 2. Here's what he can do really well, and he keeps it for a first down run.
Nice feel there, good patience to be able to sort of allow your offensive lineman Mason Murphy, the right tackle, to come off on a combo block late on that linebacker, help pick up first down yardage.
Daniels to throw on first down, and he slings it to the edge, and Eric Singleton Jr. Singleton coming off of a 77-yard performance in a win on the road to Arkansas.
You can see there that arm angle drops just a little bit, kind of hops into that throw instead of taking the gradual step into it. He mentioned his base being a little bit too wide consistently as well at Stanford. He's been working on that. I just think it's cool that he notices and sees the things that he needs to work on, and he wants to go out and try to polish those aspects of his game.
Now 2nd and 7. 71 yards of offense so far for Auburn through nearly a half a play. Daniels stays in bounds, and he picks up a first down as Auburn crosses midfield for the first time. It turns into a 26-yard scramble, longest play of the night for the Tigers.
His speed is deceptive because he's a long strider. He does an excellent job of turning this corner. Most quarterbacks going to run that right out of bounds. Has the awareness that maybe the angle is not where it needs to be to shove him out of bounds, and picks up an extra 10-15.
And plus territory for the first time tonight. Cobb has been bottled up. He gets nowhere. Jared Smith, the second, and on the stop for Kentucky.
That's one of the things this Auburn staff will keep an eye on. If Kentucky's edge defenders are going to play that flat down the line of scrimmage, as Jared Smith just did, you've got to attack the perimeter. Get that ball on the outside. Allow either some of those jet sweeps or get some kind of counter power going to the perimeter.
Cobb has been held to a third of his normal production tonight. Daniels sheds one would-be tackler, has room to run. The pump fake will get him a little bit more space before he is forced out of bounds by Ty Bryant out of Frederick Douglass in Lexington.
It's another play, like we mentioned, Brad White slanting a defensive tackle right in to your freshman center, Cale Ellis. A little bit of a bull rush pushes him back into the pocket. That's why Ashton Daniels exits. And then we're just getting some good backyard ball from Ashton Daniels at the end of some of these plays.
2-minute timeout.
We hit the 2-minute timeout. Auburn threatening to score for the first time tonight as the Tigers have moved to past midfield. When we return, it'll be the 7th play of this drive for Ashton Daniels, and War Eagle Kentucky leads 3-0. Hey, punters are people too, all right, guys? Just remember it. We got scholarships for everybody. 3rd and 6. Auburn's got 3 timeouts remaining. Daniels rolls away from the pressure, and nobody's there. Jeremiah Wright, offensive lineman, was over there.
Tough to diagnose this front. You have a couple different defenders walked up, so you sort of give a little roll protection where you're trying to wall that off on the right side. And I think some confusion from Cale Ellis of if his guard was going to be next to him or not.
They're going to go for it on 4th and 6. Deepest penetration for Auburn tonight. Daniels pressure, gets away from it, keeps the play alive. There's a flag down. It goes downfield, and it is incomplete. Off the hands of David Rayner, who returned. There are 2 flags down, one in the backfield and one on the far sideline.
There are 2 fouls on the play. Holding on the defense, number 21. Holding on the offense, number 51. Those fouls offset. Replay, 4th down.
So we'll try it again, and they're going to leave the offense on the field. You got to wonder, with Ashton Daniels being 5 for 11 tonight and only 101 yards of total offense, if they don't find the end zone, do they go back to Jackson Arnold in the second half? And Kentucky will use a timeout.
Kentucky, they're first. This will be a 30-second timeout.
Well, this is an Auburn offense that made the change at quarterback last week against Arkansas when they had 10 points in the first half of that game. Now, Jackson Arnold had thrown a pick 6, and it was the defense that truly won it for him with 4 takeaways in the fourth quarter. What's Hugh Freeze thinking whether or not they score here when they go back to the locker room?
I think the first thing you look at, Tom, is, okay, Jackson Arnold gives you maybe other skills that could be useful, but the offensive line is doing this offense no favors. Ashton Daniels can't get to the back of his drops, has no time to go through progressions, having to leave the pocket as soon as he gets the football. So if you can't shore that up, I'm not sure if it matters who's at quarterback for you the rest of the game.
Good point. First start of his Auburn career for Ashton Daniels. They love his poise. At 3 state championships he won at Buford High School. He won them all with fourth quarter comebacks. And go ahead scores late. 2 of them under 1 minute to win the state title. Trying to get the Cats to jump. They didn't bite. Tigers still have 3 opportunities to stop the clock if they can pick up a first down. Daniels sacked. Kentucky takes him down, led by Khalil Sanders.
More games from Brad White up front in this Kentucky defense. A little pressure inside. Loop man going to come around, not be picked up. Other pressure from the right side of the offensive line as well. Early penetration causes that. Loop man is the one who's supposed to come around and get the sack, but it was the penetrator, Steven Souls Jr., who ends up getting to the quarterback. You have to slam that down, go shoulder to shoulder, bump that off, get your tackle off on the loop man, but the penetrator has to be stopped first against any sort of twist or 3-man game when you have one coming around after the intended penetration right there. It's an excellent job by Steven Souls Jr., the outside linebacker for the Wildcats, he's got some heavy hands. He plays hard.
It's an Auburn program which has lost 7 of 8 at home against power opponents. Flags down. The lone win in that span was a quadruple overtime win against Texas A&M, but it includes losses not just throughout conference play, but also to Cal.
Offside on the defense, number 15. 5-yard penalty from the previous spot. Replay, first down.
1:34 to play in the half. Kentucky might be in a position to take a shot here.
You're going to pick up 3 yards here, Tom. This is something that Carter Boley was great with a week ago against Tennessee, forcing multiple procedure penalties from the Vols defense. Talked to Eric Wolford, the offensive line coach, before the game. He said, we will absolutely use it again tonight.
Well, slow developing, and snap was late. Not only they moved backwards, but they lost some time. 1:22 left in the half. The veteran Jagger Burton is the last guy to get the snap count. Interestingly enough, Kentucky's base snap count is on 2. And when they change to go on 1, that's a change for everybody. We had a great talk with Bush Hamdan, who said he instituted this in the offseason because they wanted to be able to go on 2 without thinking about it.
False start on the offense, number 50. 5-yard penalty from the previous spot. Replay, first down.
Of all people, Bush
Auburn
Hamdan
has elected a 10-second runoff. Kentucky has elected not to use a timeout for the 10-second runoff.
Bush picked
The
that
clock
up
should be
from,
reset back to 1:24. 10 seconds removed to 1:14. 1:14.
from former Kentucky offensive coordinator Neil Brown. I'd never heard that before, had you?
I haven't either, but I love it, and I loved his reasoning for it. As you stated, you're able to go 2-1 later. You don't have to work your way to 2. And what does any normal defense think you're going to go on? 1, correct? Yeah. So
Boley has it batted down at the line of scrimmage by Bobby Jamison Travis.
when you go into a game, whatever your cadence is, you get to that first height, you feel like that's when the ball's going to be snapped. So if you're on 2 out of the gate, I think it gives the offense an advantage, and then you don't have to work your way to that either.
68 seconds left in the half after the 10-second runoff a play prior. Four-man rush. Bullied. Picked off. Hit him in the chest. And an opportunity for Auburn. Jaquez Robinson with the takeaway, his first of the year. And the Tigers, with a minute left, are back into plus territory. Pardon me, Elijah Melendez with the interception.
So DJ Durkin loves to walk defenders up. Melendez not even really walked up, showing potential pressure. Hook flat defender drops right into his face. Cutter Boley doesn't see him. Great spatial awareness. Take that football away. Now going to give Auburn an opportunity to potentially put points on the board before we head to the half.
Auburn hasn't been held scoreless in the first half since September of last year in a loss to Arkansas. Here's Cobb. He is taken down out of bounds. They'll move the chain with 53 seconds left. Pardon me, they said he was inbounds. Tigers have 3 timeouts left. Cobb left side again. Another huge hole. Auburn trying to take advantage of the momentum. Timeout taken by Hugh Freeze and the Tigers. So once again, it's the Auburn defense that gives this offense a little breathing room. It doesn't change necessarily the effectiveness of the offense, except they're getting one more chance to prove they can get it done, and Jeremiah Cobb is turning it up.
I think what it does here now, Tom, based on field position, you say, okay, let's see if we can go run the football a couple of times, put us in position to take a good quality shot or two at the end zone. If not, we're in great field position for Alec McPherson. And you have back-to-back counter plays that have gone for the offense now. Counters into the short side of the field, something that Auburn's done exceptionally well this year. Jeremiah Wright at guard, pulling around with a couple big blocks, and you see the red zone efficiency for this offense last week at Arkansas. You don't want to settle for these field goals. Obviously, you could tie the game up here. Love to get a lead, go into the half some momentum, something that this Auburn football team has not been great with all season.
Well within McPherson's range already, and still 2 timeouts in their pocket. Cobb again, left side. This time maybe picked up a foot.
Well, it's a nice adjustment by Brendan Fraser at tight end to be able to peel back and pick up one of those Kentucky linebackers, but maybe a few 2 times to the well on that counter play.
On 3rd and short. Whip to the outside, and they rule it a catch by Perry Thompson, and a first down. We'll stop the clock for a moment, and now a little bit longer as Auburn uses a timeout.
This will be a 30-second timeout.
It's a nice job, Ashton Daniels, understanding the cushion that he had, number one. Number two, where first down yardage was going to be, and Perry Thompson getting past the sticks, able to pick it up. A young man who his game has really improved over the last couple of weeks, last couple of months. Horatio Fields, we're not going to see on the field tonight. Injured Auburn receiver has been critical in assisting Perry Thompson just in his growth. Fundamentals, how to work, how to go out and improve with things yourself, not just what the coaches are asking you to do in practice every day.
The red zone struggles for Auburn over the course of the season. 123rd in the country, just a tick above 48%. Meanwhile, Kentucky's red zone defense is 6th best in the country. Can they hold the Tigers to a field goal here? 17 seconds remaining in the first half. Ashton Daniels stands tall in the pocket. Everybody's covered. Can't take a sack, and he delivers incomplete off of Cam Coleman. 9 seconds remaining in the half.
You almost wonder to yourself there, do you just want to go ahead, get rid of that football, maybe save 2-3 seconds on the clock? Ashton Daniels, a nice job at eluding some of that rush, trying to get outside and keep a positive play alive, but just nothing home. Good coverage by that Kentucky secondary.
Second and goal from the 9.
Cam Coleman lined up inside now.
They roll left. Daniels gets rid of it, incomplete through the hands of Eric Singleton. Would have been short anyway. Now 3rd and goal. They'll bring out Alex McPherson. Had a brief chat with Alex pregame. It's hard not to be a fan of this young kicker who's battled health issues over the last couple of seasons and had a horrendous day at the office against Missouri, just 1 for 4. Bounced back to tie an SEC record with 6 against Arkansas, joining the likes of Daniel Carlson and Aldo Greco. It's be a 27-yard attempt. And he punches it through to knot it at 3. There are 2 seconds remaining in the half. This season, for every field goal and extra point made by participating universities, Allstate will make a contribution to the university's general scholarship fund. Thank you, Allstate. Well, the good news is, to this point, we've outscored Game 7 of the World Series, but not much more. 3 apiece for Kentucky and Auburn. Did you expect this to be a low-scoring game?
Not to this extent, no. Felt like with Ashton Daniels a week ago that the Auburn offense was finding some confidence, finding a little bit more success, even though it did get bogged down in the red zone. And we've shown the numbers from Cutter Boley last week. Granted, the team's blown out by Tennessee, but there were parts of his game that began to show up that I feel like Bush Hamdan and Mark Stoops also beginning to have some confidence in. And then we saw him push the ball down the field early in this game. Tom felt like, okay, Kentucky going to open it up a little bit. Find some of those explosive plays that have been vacant for so long this season.
Well, when they took those deep shots, Cutter Boley very nearly threw 2 interceptions on 1 possession. I don't think either coach minds going conservative tonight. The pivotal game for both programs, and I believe the pundits and the podcasters, both head coaches as well.
Ball will be placed at the 35-yard line.
We'll have it at the 35-yard line. Do you risk taking a shot?
With the lack of success you've had down the field, to me, probably not worth it. Specifically with what DJ Durkin likes to throw at you in simulated pressures, showing different things from different angles that aren't there, and then they appear from other places. You don't want to risk another turnover that potentially could go back for a score. I think you just get this one to the half.
Well, DJ Durkin's side has done its job, holding Kentucky to just 3 points. But you got to wonder if the musical chairs at quarterback will continue. The carousel spins again. Ashton Daniels 6 of 14 for 42 yards. It's the lowest scoring game entering halftime in the conference this season, matching Vanderbilt and Missouri. Ashton Daniels getting his first start as the Auburn quarterback in place of Jackson Arnold. It's his 2nd consecutive half work. Let's get you down the field. Here's Alyssa Lang with Hugh Freeze.
Coach, what will be your plan with the quarterback going into the second half?
Yeah, we got to get in here and talk about it because, you know, they're doing a really good job on defense for us, and we're not creating any momentum right now. So we've got to get in there and talk about what's the best option for us, for sure.
What will you tell your quarterback room about the challenges that you're seeing them face?
Well, you got to turn the ball loose. You know, I think we've got one-on-ones there, like on the 4th down, and just got to turn it loose and give our guys a chance to go make it. I do think we found a little something in the run game, so it will help us stay ahead of the chains.
Thank you, Coach.
Yep, thank you.
Hugh Freeze looking for some offense and a lozenge. Nothing doing offensively in this rock fight tonight. Kentucky and Auburn tied at 3. Good luck breaking this one down, fellas. Let's go to the studio. Welcome back to SEC Saturday Night, presented by T-Mobile 5G home internet. A low-scoring game and a defensive battle. The question remains, what does Auburn do at the quarterback position? I think we've got an answer for that. Let's go down the field. Alyssa Lang, what have you learned?
Tom, I just talked to head coach Hugh Freeze, and I asked him what his plan would be. He said, we're going to go with Ashton Daniels for a series. If it doesn't go well, we'll make a change to Jackson Arnold. I said, what does not going well mean? Does that mean not scoring? He said, well, he's just not seeing the field very well right now. Referenced a couple of slants that he had open that wasn't able to hit. And guys, don't forget, Auburn also has a true freshman center, Cale Ellis, starting for this offense. He mentioned multiple times that Kentucky's defensive front is giving Ellis fits. So something that's definitely developing after that first series, which we'll see in a few minutes.
Thank you, Alyssa. Great report. And that's what Cole pointed out in the first half. Yeah, you can change quarterbacks, but you can't change out an entire offensive line. And of course, they're down to their second-string center, who is a freshman. Tom Hart, Cole Kublik, along with Alyssa down on the field. What do you think of what Hughes said to Alyssa about the quarterback position?
I'm going to be honest with you, Tom. I don't like the fact if your quarterback's not seeing the field well, what is one series going to do? I don't see how all of a sudden your vision repairs itself and you're going to go out and throw darts or see different routes develop. I do think a lot of that has to do with that pressure that the offensive line's giving up. Why Ashton Daniels is not able to get through those progressions or maybe even see a few slants. A lot of the defensive pressure Kentucky's applying is coming right up the middle.
Meanwhile, Kentucky hasn't had much more luck offensively. In fact, the Cats have been outgained by 19 yards so far tonight through one half of play. And Cutter Boley has thrown an interception in 5 consecutive games. It's tied for the most in the FBS. Here's Cameron Miller, true freshman receiver from Camden, New Jersey. And he's able to find about 6 yards on the opening down.
That has to make Kentucky fans happy. Tom, you've seen flashes of this young man this year, and a lot of folks just wondering, where is 22? He just looks like a playmaker when he gets the ball in his hands.
Well, the problem is he shares a position with Kendrick Law, but they're without Jamori Macklin, out due to injury tonight. One of a handful of scholarship players banged up. This guy's back and healthy, and he's running like it, and South McGowan picks up a first down.
So we're seeing some of these backside cuts for this Kentucky run game have success. It started a little bit later in the second quarter. You remember there was one that was negated by a penalty. It looks like it might have gone for 50 yards. So Mark Stoops maybe seeing something backside that Kentucky's going to continue to try to attack.
The thing that slowed Kentucky down in the first quarter is when they tried to take a couple of deep shots. Cutter Boley, who's been very accurate over his last 2 starts, was anything but. Caddis in motion. They're going to run it left side. McGowan trying to be patient, and that just gave Auburn more time to find him. It's a loss of nearly a yard. Keldrick Falk, junior from Highland Home, Alabama, in on the stop.
Still continuing to attack the mesh, so they're not going to be too concerned with Cutter Boley keeping this football. However, playing the front side of the run much better than they did on a couple in the first half when it appeared as though attacking that mesh was going to lead to a negative play.
Boley just 50% completion so far tonight for 48 yards on 7 completions. Pulled it back, then spit it out, and no gain to McGowan. This is a bad Cutter Boley that we saw earlier this season when he hesitated, when he double clutched, when he didn't get the ball out quickly.
Well, and it was the right decision initially to take that check down. It's just you put McGowan in a very awkward situation, having to turn all the way around, catch the football that close to the sideline.
Kentucky 2 for 6 on 3rd down this evening. Auburn shows pressure. Boley lets it go right at the stick for a first down to Fred Ferrier. Only the 5th catch of the season for the senior from Frankfurt.
It's not always the offensive line, Tom, that allows for plays to pick up yards. Watch Dante Dowdell here step up, bam, square up that defender. Excellent job picking up the blitz.
7 different Cats have caught a pass tonight. They go back to Kendrick Law, and they just haven't been able to bust one on the perimeter. He goes backwards for a yard.
The only one that Kendrick Law was able to actually break for positive yards. Two Auburn defenders kind of ran into one another. They're excellent outside, getting ball carriers to the ground, and that's a part of the Kentucky offense that Bush Hamdan wants to lean on. Those quick throws, quick distribution.
Only 6 yards a catch for Law tonight. He averaged nearly 50 yards a catch against Tennessee a week ago. Corner blitz coming. And able to come in and make the tackle on Dante Dowdell is Sylvester Smith.
Boy, you had that play drawn up correctly because you had the overload front to the left side of the offensive line. You run away to the right side of the defensive line, but because they retract, move back to where they were initially going to be lined up, off the corner blitz, ends up being a negative play.
They're down again already.
Look at this front from DJ Durkin. So this is 7 up, Tom, and he'll come look at the iPad of how they're handling this during the game and then decide who's going to drop, who's going to rush.
Boley floats one down the sideline and is caught inbounds. It's Fred Ferrier, their second. And a first down for Kentucky on a gain of 32.
Cover 2 to the outside, looking for that honey hole shot. Ball has just enough air under it not to be intercepted. What a catch from Fred Ferrier. I'm not even sure how he contorted his body to be able to get up and make that reception.
Kensley Lador Faustin gambled for the pick. It went right over his head. 2 catches in his drive for Ferrier after only having 4 previously all year. McGowan trying to find the edge. Turns the corner and picks up 5 yards on first down.
So now you're going to overload the formation into the boundary. Nubb tight inside. That compresses the defense just a little bit. McGowan has enough speed to be able to get to the outside. Appeared as though DeMarcus Riddick had that edge secured. Got a little bit too far down inside at the last minute.
Be the 10th play of the drive for the Kentucky offense coming out of the locker room. Willie Rodriguez back in there. And he springs Law on the screen, and Law takes it across the goal line. Our first touchdown of the night under Kendrick Law. Catch and run. What a job by Willie Rodriguez, who's battled an ankle injury.
And Josh Caddis out in front, and Rodriguez comes across the outside, gets just enough of Jay Crawford, who gambles at the line of scrimmage, trying to negate the screen. We told you earlier, Kendrick Law, one of the strongest pound-for-pound football players on this team, breaks the arm tackle, takes it in for a score.
Impressive drive for Kentucky coming out of the half. Fred Ferrier, the second, is off the milk carton. The Kentucky offense has been found in this second half. A 10-play, 75-yard drive. Kendrick Law hits pay dirt. 10-3 Cats. 75 yards of offense on the first drive of the second half for Kentucky. Pretty good considering where they've been this evening. And the first touchdown for either side. Meanwhile, you heard Alyssa coming out of halftime saying that Hugh Freeze wants to see at least one series from Ashton Daniels before deciding if he spins the quarterback carousel one more time. He changed quarterbacks at half last week against Arkansas, and they came back in the fourth quarter thanks to 4 takeaways. And that included a pick 6. Mayshawn Pleasant, 4 yards deep, is going to gamble with it. And that gamble comes up short. He's thrown down at the 8. Well, as Alyssa said, we expect to see Ashton Daniels. He'll have a long field. What have you observed down there?
Yeah, I've been standing down here watching him, Tom, and Ashton Daniels is a self-proclaimed cool, calm, and collected type of guy. He wants to keep his team calm on the sidelines, but he was pretty fired up as he got up and started warming up again, going over to every single member of his offense and giving them a high five, patting them on the shoulder pads, making sure they're fired up, ready to go. And then he stood on the sidelines for about 5 minutes by himself, getting ready to come back.
They leaned on Jeremiah Cobb to close the half, and Cobb turned the corner and lowered the shoulder. There's a flag down where he was tackled. There's actually 2 flags down, one in the backfield and one where the first down occurred. It was Ty Bryant who came in to make the tackle. And Bryant is a leader of this Kentucky defense. His dad Cisco played at Kentucky. Jared Claiborne back in the mid-'80s. Ty was a great baseball player at Frederick Douglass in Lexington.
There are 2 fouls on the play, 1 on each team. Holding on the offense, number 3. Personal foul, targeting number 14 on the defense. The previous play is under further review.
So Perry Thompson, guilty of the hold, will get another look at Ty Bryant and the targeting. This will be a huge loss for Kentucky's secondary, already thin, especially at the cornerback positions.
Extremely thin, and that's one of your leaders on defense, a guy that wanted to get in front of the entire team and speak after the Texas game.
I don't see crown of the helmet.
He's obviously not a defenseless player.
I don't see other indicators. There's no launch.
And the launch is just going to be
more of a lean.
Well, you're pursuing the football. And this is going to be one for the folks that ask for those targeting penalties on the offensive players. How does that not just offsetting targeting almost?
If they, they're going to take a further look. There's the hold on Perry. They did announce personal foul with targeting, so even if they take the targeting off, the personal foul would still stand.
After video review, there is no foul for targeting. The holding on number 3 will be enforced half the distance to the goal. Replay, first down.
Okay, pardon me. It wasn't a personal foul with targeting, just targeting. So not only does Ty Bryant stay in the game, but Auburn will be backed up and look at a 1st and 15.
I love the perimeter run. I love attacking outside. We said earlier the way Kentucky was playing, you were going to be able to find some of that. Hugh Freeze comes out with it early here in the second half, but Perry Thompson had the hands outside the framework. I didn't think it was a vicious hold, technically, maybe. Have to release that defender, let him disengage and go after the football.
So they try it to the left side now. And Cobb gets taken down at the 10 by J.Q. Hardaway.
Didn't have the same angles on the down blocks from the wide receivers on the defenders as you did on the previous play. So therefore you weren't able to set those walls to allow Jeremiah Cobb to get outside on than you did the previous attempt.
It's interesting. We're talking to Hugh Freeze about the quarterback situation. And this was in regard to Jackson Arnold, but it applies tonight to Ashton Daniels. He said, can you lead us to a win? And he said it's unfair that we put that on the quarterback, but that's a position. Corner blitz, and he finds the tight end, Brandon Frazier, who falls forward, and that by the spot should be good enough for a first down. End of the day, can you see the team to a win? Is there something else out there? He said in our meetings yesterday, we may roll that back quickly, and he told Alyssa that same thing. Now, rewind the play. If there's no holding and Jeremiah Cobb picks up a first down, regardless of the targeting, you feel better about Ashton Daniels.
The previous play is under video review. The ruling on the field was the runner made the line to gain.
The initial spot by the line judge said first down, but as they review that, likely going to be short where the ball was when his elbow hit the turf.
To your previous point, Tom, specifically on this play, you get that recognition and awareness from quarterback Ashton Daniels that you want. Sees blitz coming from the right side. You don't have the bodies to pick it up. Find your release valve in your tight end. Dump the ball down to him quickly. See if you can go pick up first down yardage. I think those are the kind of things that Hugh Freeze says he did not see enough of potentially from Ashton Daniels in the first half.
That's right. But going back to how we judge a quarterback and their responsibility for the offense as a whole, he referenced the A&M game and he said, yeah, we were 0 for 13 on third downs, but 9 of those 13 drives had a penalty in it.
After video review, the runner was down at the 18-yard line, short of the line to gain. It will be third down at that spot.
So fair or not, the buck stops with the quarterback, and Hugh Freeze, if they don't pick up a first down here, will have a decision to make at that position again. You go Cobb here?
Cobb, or I go with Ashton Daniels himself, add a blocker and go quarterback run. He's got a great feel for sort of just having a little bit of patience necessary, but Cobb, he gets downhill in a hurry, man. He runs angry. I might want that attitude here in short yardage.
And he could bust a big one. 4 40-yard runs in the season for Cobb. They've got the bigs in. They load it up, spit Cobb out, and Daniels takes it for a first down.
Well, it's an excellent job of just getting a little bit of a kick out block right here, and then everybody else going to pull around, be able to help Ashton Daniels get north and south right there. Just enough on that defender coming north and south. Got a couple extra big bodies in.
Yeah, then Dylan Wade, the offensive lineman, in the backfield that time. Here's Cobb. Folded up at the line of scrimmage.
That play looked like it had a chance. Dylan Wade pulling out front again. But Landon Watson showing great speed to the outside, able to cut that play off out near the hash.
First possession, second half for Auburn continues after Kentucky took it 75 yards for a score on its opening possession of the half. And there's movement on the far side. The wide receiver Eric Singleton Jr.
5-yard penalty. Second down.
This kind of goes back to what I was alluding to earlier. What it was Jackson Arnold and the wide receiver drops in the Missouri game. Are the penalties throughout for this team one of the most penalized in the SEC? Like it or not, it's reflected on the quarterback's playing time.
When you mentioned that A&M game also, it's not like they were living in 3rd and 2, 3rd and 3s that entire game.
Now second and long. Daniels pulls it down, goes right up the gut of the defense. And with his legs, he picks up his second first down of this drive on a 16-yard scramble.
Going to lose just a little bit of pass rush lane integrity here. It's man coverage across the board, so there's just nobody open for Ashton Daniels. Nice job feeling the rush there, and then getting north and south, find first down yardage.
Daniels rips it to the outside. There's Singleton for a gain of 8. It's what Hugh Freeze said at the half. Just let it loose. Cut the ball loose.
We wonder how that could be a consistent problem with multiple quarterbacks. I mean, Why do you play quarterback? Throw the football. And you're having issues with multiple guys not being able to let it go, and that's just, where does that come from? How does that get established with an entire room?
Is this offense too complicated?
Absolutely not. No.
Take that off the board on 2nd and short. First down run straight ahead. Jeremiah Cobb, the Montgomery native who grew up an Alabama fan, running with a quarterback, Ashton Daniels, who grew up a Georgia fan.
We got a little help that time from David Gusta. Slanting really opened up the north-south run from Jeremiah Cobb. And I like switching it up here by this Auburn offense. You attack the perimeter, now you come back inside. A couple quick throws from Ashton Daniels. You wonder, when's the shot play going to come? Could be cover one here, single safety.
They load up on the center again, and Cobb gets buried for a loss of 1.
They've been picking on the center the entire game. And it's something that you mentioned. It's a great question by you, Tom. I'll give you credit. You asked Brad White, the Kentucky defensive coordinator, in our meetings. You got a freshman center. How do you handle that? 17 years old. Apparently his teammates make fun of him. He can't go see an R-rated movie.
People go to movies these days?
Some.
I'm sure Netflix is checking IDs from the couch.
But nonetheless, Brad White has done an excellent job of covering him up when he's not covered up, slanting those defenders to him. Just make life difficult on a guy that doesn't have a ton of game experience.
Big David Gusa in front of him now. Ashton Daniels looking for some daylight. And this will be 3rd down for Auburn, 3rd and 7.
Try to speed this up. Try to get the defense off balance.
They were looking to the sideline for the play. Pocket collapses again, and Daniels can't spin free. He slings it out on his way down. It was Khalil Saunders who spun him down. And they'll say he was down before the ball came out. And the 4th sack of the night for Kentucky.
It's a perfect example of what we're talking about, Tom. So watch the twist. Come right here. You're going to pick the center. That's the penetrator. You're just looking to occupy multiple offensive linemen there. But Khalil Saunders doesn't just occupy offensive linemen. He knocks the center, Khalil Ellis, a gap over, and then is able to get into the backfield and pressure the quarterback.
Not very often that first guy gets home, is it?
Not supposed to. It's not what it's designed to do, but when you're in some sort of slide protection, you're not aware that it's coming, and your guard doesn't help offset some of the penetration. That's the result.
It's an 11-play drive for Auburn that nets 43 yards, but did nothing but take 6 minutes off the clock. Kentucky leads by a touchdown. Rookie season started early this college football year. Take you back mid-September. Brent Pry was let go at Virginia Tech. Same thing happened to UCLA. A week later, Mike Gundy was shown the door at his alma mater. Arkansas, it happened at the end of the month, and then James Franklin went from a college football playoff to looking for a job, and now Brian Kelly, the latest Howard coach to be shown the door. That came with a little bit of drama as well. And when you look at big picture, the coaching changes that have occurred at the power level and the rumblings from both of these fan bases and boosters, you got to wonder how those openings impact the decisions that the decision makers will make regarding the head coaches in this game.
It's a fair point. I'll give you my thoughts after this play.
Cutter Boley hands it off. And a hard-fought yard by Seth McGowan.
I have two schools of thought on this, Tom. One, I would say it doesn't matter because these are normally emotional decisions. Emotional decisions by the people who have the money to be able to help you make them. Emotional decisions maybe even by the fan base, by being done with whatever coach that is. But I would also say on the flip side, if you know you can go get your guy, and we obsess with the high candidates, the 1, 2, 3 elite candidates, that's not always the guy that would fit your program best. If you know you can get your guy and you think he's going to be better, you make the move.
To the slant, and that's good for a first down. If you look at the trend for Mark Stoops, last year was a losing season after they had built for so many years. And the administration showed great patience when he first started to give him time to build. 18 and 21 were the high water marks with 10 wins apiece during those seasons. He's the winningest coach in Kentucky history. And there's a huge variance to go. They could still end the season with 8 wins. That would include some monster victories, not only tonight, but also to close with a win against their rival Louisville over Thanksgiving weekend. McGowan picks up a yard and a half.
Well, that's the dangerous game you play in October, right? You look at Billy Napier last year in Florida. They get hot late. All of a sudden, win down the stretch. You knock off Ole Miss. Can't fire that guy. Can't get rid of him. Or if you wait and things continue to get worse, what does that do to who else you're going to be able to bring in or where your fan base is?
I just can't imagine. I know it will be, the odds wouldn't be with him. I cannot imagine Kentucky letting a coach go who has an 8-win season, even a 7-win season to that point. Straight ahead. Sylvester Smith on the stop.
The one thing that I would add about that particular situation is Mitch Barnhart has been patient with Mark Stoops before, the athletic director at Kentucky. There were a lot of folks early in his tenure wanted him gone. They waited. They gave him patience. He got things right.
Well, now he's got a homegrown quarterback that will be playing in the NFL in just a few years, and they're sitting on a touchdown lead as we approach the 4th quarter. They're down 7 for Cutter Boley. Auburn brings 5. Boley delivers. Good for the first down on the first catch of the game for Hardly Gilmore, the 4th.
Pretty good protection up front from that offensive line, and you saw sort of the pitter patter from Cutter Boley in the pocket. Uncertainty about when he should get rid of that football. Finds Gilmore late. Nice catch by Gilmore in traffic.
Be the final play of the quarter. It's Dante Dowdell up the right side. Kentucky has a 7-point lead. They have a talented freshman quarterback who threw a pick in the first half, but engineered a go-ahead drive here in the 3rd quarter. And as we head to the 4th on the Plains, the Cats are 15 minutes away from their first SEC win of the season. Kentucky 10, Auburn 3. We head to the fourth quarter, one-score game. Kentucky driving moments ago. Alyssa Lang caught up with Hugh Freeze.
Coach, going into the fourth quarter, what did you see from Ashton, and where are you right now in your thought process?
Yeah, we're going to go with Jackson. I mean, we've only had one drive. The game is getting short really quick. We need to get a stop here for sure, and let's see if Jackson can give us a spark. We had a pretty good drive going there and got behind the chains there and then didn't convert. But, man, one possession in the quarter is uncomfortable.
Thank you, Coach.
Yeah.
And so that carousel continues to spin. The ball may have come out. I thought he was down. Auburn thinks that they have a takeaway. And this might be the kind of game like Arkansas a week ago that DJ Durkin's defense will have to win it. But when Auburn gets the ball back, Hugh Freeze is going to go back to Jackson Arnold. Third down for Cutter Boley in Kentucky. Kentucky perfect on third downs in the second half. Pulls it back, looking for something to come open. Going the wrong way, and he gets rid of it, incomplete. Trying to fit it to Willie Rodriguez. There's a flag on the play in the secondary. Xavier Atkins was in coverage on the tight end, Rodriguez.
Holding on the defense, number 14. 10-yard penalty from the previous spot. Automatic first down.
Cornerback Rayshawn Pleasant was a hero last week. This penalty gives Kentucky a first down.
Rayshawn Pleasant going to be up here at the top of your screen. He's going to get a little deep crosser here, and that's where the hole's going to come. Right there, a little grab of the jersey. Didn't feel too bad. But a massive break for the Wildcats.
The eighth play of the drive for Kentucky as Cats look for their first conference win of the season and a crushing quarterback blitz. It's Sylvester Smith again.
Well, and Amaris Williams, we've talked about crashing that mess. We've mentioned Tim's name multiple times where he's just going to come and try to take care of the mess play. Not going to give any option to Cutter Boley trying to read anything. That time looks like a direct handoff, able to redirect. Take down the back in the backfield. Excellent play.
See if Boley adjusts to that. Second down 12. Boley pulls it back and walks right into trouble. Amaris Williams with the sack. First of the night for Auburn.
We have mentioned twists multiple times tonight, and we have mentioned the penetrator getting home multiple times tonight. Williams is going to be the penetrator here with the loop man there. This is just a hustle play. Working on Cesar's Pete, staking with it, seeing where the quarterback is in the pocket, getting home for the sack.
Third and long.
That right side, left side of the offensive line going to be overloaded here, Tom. Who drops, who rushes? That's the question for the Kentucky offense.
They bring four over the middle to Kendrick Law. Into Auburn territory, but well short of a first down. Ball at the 45-yard line.
Really nice job by the Kentucky offensive line of sorting that out. You had four defenders to the left side of your offensive line, got all kind of twists, just not going to be enough for first down yardage, but an excellent job not allowing pressure to Cutter Boley on that specific play.
So Aiden LaRosse back out to punt it away to Malcolm Simmons. Ross had one down at the 2 earlier this game. Great hang time and a fair catch taken at the 8. Jackson Arnold returning to action for Auburn after being benched last week. Can he lead the Tigers to a comeback tonight? Jackson Arnold is back for Auburn. Let's revisit what Hugh Freeze told to Alyssa at the beginning of the quarter.
We're going to go with Jackson. I mean, we've only had one drive. The game is getting short really quick. We need to get a stop here for sure, and let's see if Jackson can give us a spark. We had a pretty good drive going there and got behind the chains there and then didn't convert. But, man, one possession in the quarter is uncomfortable.
Thank you, Coach.
Yeah.
Arnold was in a similar situation against South Carolina last year at Oklahoma. He returned after being benched in favor of Michael Hawkins Jr. and threw for 225 and a pair of touchdowns. But this is where Auburn thrives. It's the running game and Jeremiah Cobb. Jackson Arnold, a 5-star recruit, was behind Dylan Gabriel as a freshman at Oklahoma. He was a number 3 recruit in the 23 class. 1 start as a freshman, 9 last year. And just hasn't been able to push the ball downfield when he's been on the field. Long throw to the flat, and Cam Coleman picks up 3 yards.
That's good news right there for Auburn fans, because letting go of that football in that particular play, an area that Jackson Arnold has questioned himself over the course of the last 2 seasons.
Maybe Jackson Arnold, why not cut it loose? You got nothing to lose here. Double pumps and dumps down to Omar Mabin, and Mabson, excuse me, and he takes it for a first down.
Sometimes just different quarterbacks see things differently. You wonder, you hear Hugh Freeze say we had a good drive going, but just got behind the chains. Looking for a spark. I don't often believe that individuals can bring you a spark. I believe execution brings you a spark, and Auburn offense feels like they're more on the same page on this drive.
It's Mabson again, the Auburn product, Auburn High School, just down the road. True freshman.
You go tempo here, try to work this Kentucky defense. Have a look that you like.
5th play of the drive. Arnold gets sacked. Alex Safari Jr. with the 5th sack of the night for Kentucky. I'm not sure if Cam Newton would make a difference at quarterback tonight, the way the O-line's been playing.
You're just going to have 2 defenders slant inside, and this is Myquise Humphrey Grace just bowling over Auburn's right guard.
Cam may make a difference.
Probably a little bit.
3rd down 14. They're just 1 of 7 on 3rd and medium or longer tonight. 4-man rush. They get him again. Arnold tries to bounce it, and he gets taken down just past the line of scrimmage. And here's a conundrum for Hugh Freeze. You're going to punt it away, but Mark Stoops and Bush Hamden's Kentucky offense have shown the ability to bleed the clock. I'm not sure how much time will be left unless DJ Durkinson can work some magic.
For Kentucky, number 18 is wearing number 41 for the punt return.
Well, styles make fights, Tom. I think this is the exact style fight Kentucky came into this game looking for.
Hudson Cock on to punt it away. Kendrick Law, fair catch, 16-yard line. 45-yard punt, 8:59 remaining in regulation at Jordan-Hare. All right, thanks, Dari. Cutter Boley going to work, and he delivers it on time, fitting it into his tight end, Josh Caddis. Caddis' dad, Eric, was a tight end from Michigan back in the early to mid-'80s. Teammate of Jim Harbaugh. He's one of the reasons Boley has been perfect this second half, 10 for 10. Averaging 10.4 yards per completion. My abacus is right. Second and short. You said styles make fights. This is type of game that Mark Stoops made his money on early in his Kentucky career. Here's Law turning it upfield. Doing his best, Lynn Bowden, but trying to shorten the game. Yep. Punch you in the mouth and take your punches. And there's an injured player down for Auburn. And that's Elijah Melendez, who had the first half interception for the Tigers. We will take a timeout. 8:10 to go in regulation at Jordan-Hare. Kentucky clinging to a 7-point lead.
Is presented by T-Mobile 5G Home Internet. If you didn't know T-Mobile has home internet, you do now.
Well, Cutter Boley is looking for a comeback win for Kentucky. He got off to a slow start in this one, but he's been perfect in the second half. And listen, we told the story in the first half. Andre Woodson reached out to him. He's also got a QB coach over his shoulder. And Mike Hartline, the former Kentucky QB and pro.
Yeah, another guy who knows very much what it is to wear that white and blue uniform. When we talked to Bush Hampton about it, he kind of likened it to the NFL and a quarterback's coach. He said, when I have to go work on other areas of the offense, Michael then can take Cutter under his wing and continue to send the message home. Cutter said, it's nice to hear things from a different perspective. Then I can kind of mold it into whatever works for me. Also, guys, quickly, Kendrick Law has come up a little bit gimpy. He was working out here on the sidelines trying to get back in.
All right, thank you. It's a 5-yard run on first down by Seth McGowan, the Oklahoma transfer, by way of a couple of different junior college stops. Going back to the Bush Hampton conversation about Hartline, he said, I can leave the room and those guys can just watch film, and Hartline can say, what are you seeing? What are you looking at? And it takes a lot of that pressure off than suppose your coordinator judging you like a mother-in-law.
You have different conversations with different coaches. Those relationships are always different. and you get different reactions. So it's a lot of value for that Kentucky staff.
On 2nd and 5 to the slant, incomplete. And that was draping coverage on Cameron Miller by Rayon Strader. He was all over him. It brings up 3rd down.
So you see what look DJ Durkin wants to throw at this Kentucky offense. How aggressive does Bush Hamdan want to be? Bunch formation to the field. A lot of quick route options that you have out of this formation for the Wildcats.
Auburn brings 4 near side. That's good for the 1st down to Cameron Miller. Bush Hamdan told us this week we want to get Miller on the field and more touches. It's just hard to move a young player around. You want to keep things simple from an assignment standpoint.
You say that, Tom, but every time he touches the football, he just feels electric. It looks like he can provide explosive plays, something this Wildcat offense hasn't been able to find many of. I'd be a fan with forcing him on the field somehow, some way more often.
And a crushing hit on Seth McGowan. Got back to the line of scrimmage. Jake Crawford with the stop for Auburn.
And Chris Murray at that defensive end spot playing underneath the block of Henry Boyer at tight end. We'll go back to that style fight, Tom. Kentucky is fine living this life right here. Bleed this clock, put the pressure on the Auburn offense, let your defense keep doing what they've been doing.
Trying to get to a manageable 3rd down. Blitz coming. Boley goes down the hash and not on the same page as Hardly Gilmore.
I might be a little surprised at the shot play. You had man coverage up top. The motion showed you that. Sneak this one past the safety. Accurate throw actually could pick up big yardage there for the Cats. Now another 3rd down.
They've been great on 3rd down this half. Everybody's coming. Boley taken down. 2nd sack of the night for Auburn. And it comes at the perfect time. Kensley Lador-Faustin was there. Chris Murray cleaned it up.
DJ Durkin again just going to overload this side. There's not enough bodies to pick it up. You get that protection that looks decent at first, but you're outnumbered. Tom, that ball has to come out. Quick protection, don't have the numbers, find the quick route, get rid of the football. Excellent call by DJ Durkin.
First sack of the season for Lador-Faustin. Simmons may have a chance here. He's at the 21 to return. Beautiful kick from LaRosse. It drives him all the way back to the 6. Bends it back to the near side. And taken down at the 17-yard line. 57-yard punt. Second crack at it for Jackson Arnold off the bench for Auburn. Welcome back to SEC Saturday Night, presented by T-Mobile 5G Home Internet. Pivotal game for both programs tonight. Auburn has lost 4 out of 5 in league play. Kentucky looking for its first win. Brad White's defense has turned the page. They had allowed more than 34 points per game against SEC opponents. Tonight, Auburn has mustered only 3. That's second. That's 13th among SEC teams in league play. Second possession for Jackson Arnold. Took a sack last time after they moved the ball early in the possession. Too high for Jeremiah Cobb. We talked with Jackson Arnold a couple of weeks ago, and he discussed making the move from Oklahoma to Auburn. He said, I was looking for a reset and a change of scenery. You know, my whole career has featured adversity, and he's dealing with more adversity tonight. He was benched second half against Arkansas, and then they went with Ashton Daniels to start the game this evening. Former 5-star recruit, number 3 in his class, and a loss of at least a yard for Cobb. Alex Safari Jr. another stop, and it's going to set up 3rd and long.
It's a nice job by Dylan Wade pulling around. It's not a nice job by Preston Howard at tight end with the whiff.
Under 5 minutes to play. You'd think this would be 2-down territory should they make it within 5 yards of a first down.
And that obviously impacts your play call here.
Kentucky brings pressure. Arnold goes down again. Another sack for the Cats. Brad White brought the house. Steven Souls was the first one there.
We can talk numbers, we can talk protection, but this is individual effort from Souls, who's going to come around the outside. Mason Murphy, decent depth, but opens up those hips a little bit too early and gives Steven Souls a short edge to the quarterback who had dropped past his set point. This is an excellent rush, an excellent scouting. Understand how you're going to be set by these Auburn tackles in this game.
Now they'll turn it over to DJ Durkin's defense to try and save the night. Punt down at the 47. Let's get it to our friends at Academy Sports and Outdoors.
The only thing better than Thanksgiving is deep fried Thanksgiving.
On the punt, Kentucky was flagged for holding, so they will back them up a little bit farther. By the way, Hugh Freeze coach team hasn't been held at 3 or fewer since Liberty got beat by Syracuse in August of 2019 at 24-0 shutout. It happened 3 times during his stint at Ole Miss, including the Peach Bowl on New Year's Eve of 14. Who's to blame for the Auburn offense poor performance tonight? Kentucky's defense or the game plan?
The Kentucky defense individually and game plan has been spectacular. But playing offense is all about options, Tom. It's knowing what front you're getting, knowing what coverage you're getting. If the play call doesn't have a high success rate, you get to something else. What you've been calling not going, you find ways to get to other things. We've seen it in the Auburn run game. Can't get it going up the middle. All of a sudden, you go to perimeter runs. You go to more pin and pull. All of a sudden, it looks like it's worked. You get a couple back blocks, some crackdowns. Things are going to go. Penalty here, penalty there. All of a sudden, then you're in a passing situation. You take a sack. The protection hasn't been good. The quarterbacks hadn't gotten the ball out on time, but you wonder how much of that squeezed together have you really had an opportunity to pick up big yards for.
Auburn has been outscored by the Blue Jays tonight. Cutter Bully and the Kentucky offense back to work. He's been efficient in the second half. And that Kentucky offensive line paving the way for Seth McGowan on first down.
Kentucky offensive line knows how to lead. It's a big physical group, but I'll just say this. Seth McGowan as a football player is made for this moment right here. He is an absolute grinder. He's a literal cheese grater running the football. Looks for contact, wants to shred your defense, Doesn't have a care in the world about trading paint with somebody. He was made for moments like this.
You just put me in the mood for some charcuterie. 2nd and 6.
First time I think I've heard that in my life.
Botanic was fantastic last night. You missed out.
We got a lot of tricks and treats at the house.
Bully will go under center. I believe that's the first time tonight. Going to bleed the play clock all the way down under 5. He wants to throw. Adjusts. Puts a dunk up. It is intercepted. Taken away by Auburn. Still on his feet past the 50. There is a ball came loose late. Anquan Fagans had the pick after Bully got hit as he threw. Did Kentucky get it back or not?
Running on the field was an interception by Auburn. During the return, he fumbled the ball. The ball was recovered by Kentucky. The Kentucky's ball, first down and 10.
And it's a first down. And this topsy-turvy season for Auburn continues. Fagans had the pick, and then it was stripped away by Cameron Miller pursuing from the backside.
It's a true freshman making that play, by the way.
And then
a heads-up play right there.
I believe Miller was the one that recovered it as well. Think about all the tough losses this season for Auburn. Oklahoma, Georgia, Missouri in overtime. And just when it looked like they had the ball back with a chance to get back in on the pressure from Keldrick Falk, they give it right back.
When the history books are written, Tom, that individual play may be what's placed in there to describe this season for the Auburn Tigers.
Well, you could pick a few of them. You could pick the fumble at the goal line. You could pick the illegal play in the game against Oklahoma. Clock rolling towards the 2-minute timeout. And we'll get there after this. If this were DJ Rob Basin, Easy Rock could be more pain than joy for Auburn fans this season.
This will be a 30-second timeout.
They stop the clock. And that'll give them 27 seconds until the 2-minute timeout. Mark Stoops is at his best, as we've learned, when he's backed into a corner. And they came into this game after getting blown out by Tennessee, wondering about their future as a staff. Well, now they have some very interesting games in their future. They get Florida at home next Saturday night, non-conference with Tennessee Tech, and a chance to make some noise against a Vanderbilt team that lost today at Texas, and then Louisville.
Well, what do we hear about Mark Stoops all the time? Youngstown guy, right? His brother on the staff, Eric Wolford. His brother Ron actually coached DJ Durkin in high school, who's another Youngstown guy.
You want to know how tough the Stoops brothers were? Ron is 8 years older than Mark. He knocked his tooth out when they were kids. I said, what'd you do? He goes, I couldn't go cry to Mom. She didn't want to hear it. Dad didn't hear it. Longtime coach at Cardinal Mooney. It's like he was born into a den of wolves, the younger brother with all those tough older brothers. Timeout taken to stop the clock again.
It'll be a 30-second timeout.
Doing their best to get the ball back with a chance to make something happen. You appreciate what Mark Stoops has built at the University of Kentucky after taking over for Joker Phillips, the winningest coach in school history. It's been tough to watch how things have turned over the last season and a half. A win tonight, how does that change feelings around there?
It could change the direction of the program here in the second half of the season. You put the schedule up. We've done that Kentucky-Florida game multiple times the last few years. We know how weird that thing can get. Tennessee Tech could easily be a win. You stack a couple of wins down the stretch, Tom, with a quarterback that didn't start the season as your original starter, who now has real experience, a couple freshman receivers that are playing well. Could you build that as real momentum heading into the offseason and next season potentially for Stoops and company?
Well, I think the question is, can you make it to the offseason, right? And you can get those wins to do so. And with Cutter Boley, a Kentucky-born quarterback, who bleeds blue, you have an opportunity to build something special. Third and 4, 4-man rush. Boley lets it go down the sideline and behind his intended receiver Gilmore. Well, that's an interesting play call at 3rd and 4. You had man coverage, but still you miss an opportunity to run this thing to the 2 minutes.
Second shot in 2 series now that we've seen where ample time could have been drained off the clock. Auburn has one more stoppage themselves. You mentioned that 2-minute warning. That's a little bit of life injected into this Auburn football team late in this game.
And Boley has been off over the course of the night, 18 of 29. Auburn will have a chance to come after the punt, but don't get it. And a fair catch asked for at the 9. Let's take a look at our high-speed highlights brought to you by T-Mobile 5G Home Internet.
This Kentucky defense has been fantastic. The way that they have aligned, the way that they have brought pressure, shown pressure, and then just honestly some individual effort. Been able to fight through double teams, win one-on-one matchups. Brad White came in, knew exactly how he wanted to attack this pass protection, and his front 4, front 7 has been excellent in executing that tonight. They have strangled this Auburn offense.
Make this make sense. Ashton Daniels is back.
I don't believe I can do that for you right now.
Daniels 8 of 16 for 59 yards. He started this game, and he's able to check it down to Omar Mabson, who picks up 12 and a first down. Auburn hasn't lost a game when allowing 10 or fewer points since October of '91, when it lost to Southern Miss 10-9. 2-minute timeout. Ashton Daniels has a chance to be a hero for the Eagles tonight.
College football playoff top 25. We got brackets to talk about. A lot of movement wide open.
The top 25 rankings reveal and 12-team CFP projection. Tuesday on ESPN.
Low-scoring game tonight. Kentucky leads Auburn 10-3 as we come out of the 2-minute timeout. Last time Kentucky won a game scoring 10 or fewer, 2011 against Tennessee. Matt Roark went 4 for 6 in that game as the quarterback. Incomplete to the near side. That was the one that ended that long losing streak to UT. 2nd and 10 now. You mentioned something during the break of why Hugh Freeze may have gone with Ashton Daniels over Jackson Arnold at this point.
I immediately said, yeah, I can't explain that, but upon further thought, if he runs the 2-minute offense more efficiently in practice, and you know you're going to have to go hurry up here to get back in or maybe win this game, that's how I could potentially make some sense out of this move.
4-man rush. Daniels to the slant, and Perry Thompson brought down short. Auburn has 1 timeout remaining. They're going to hold it for the time being. Daniels hands it off. They'll pick up the first down and stop the clock for a moment on the run by Mabson. 2 plays ago when Ashton Daniels fired it out of bounds, Mark Stoops wanted an intentional grounding call but didn't get it. Here comes the blitz from the edge. Daniels backtracking, complete to the sideline, and a quick step out of bounds by Thompson. 1:22 remaining.
Boy, kind of a half roll right into that pressure from Ashton Daniels. Fortunate to get that football off. I do like attacking where the pressure is coming from, normally where you're going to find the open receiver, but dangerous, sort of moving right into that unblocked defender.
Remember, Kentucky is down to Ryan Nichols, starting cornerback. DJ Waller is also still out. Nasir Addison getting a rare start, his first of the season tonight at 1 cornerback spot. Daniels goes deep. It is overthrown, and no flag on the coverage from Ty Bryant. He held up Eric Singleton Jr., and it leaves 3rd and 7.
Some hand fighting between the 2 individuals there. I didn't see anything that I felt like would have been. I mean, I'm not sure it's a catchable football. Number 1.
Not even in the shot. 3rd down 7. 4-man rush again. Daniels double pumps, trying to scramble, and gets dropped at the 40-yard line by Tavian Gadsden. Timeout taken by Auburn with 1:07 remaining.
Their 3rd and final timeout.
Brad White's Kentucky defense just sitting in 3 deep here, trying to find a crosser late. But an excellent job by Kentucky defending that. You get the twist to the left side. This is more just a coverage sack. The offensive line held up fairly well. And Justin Daniels just runs out of time before he needs to leave the pocket. And one thing this Kentucky defense has done an excellent job of is retrace their pass rushes tonight. So when I say that, I mean you're rushing upfield. You're maybe trying to occupy one of those gaps. You're trying to knock a defender off to allow another blitzer to come through the other direction. They have retraced off of those original routes back to the quarterbacks very well. We have not seen a lot of big runs by Auburn quarterbacks leaving the pocket since what, the 2nd drive of this game. Felt like Daniels did it early.
4th and 6 now. This Auburn offense is 134th in the country in sacks allowed per pass attempt. Already 6 tonight for the Cats. 1 more would end it. Ashton Daniels known for his poise late. Here comes pressure. Steps up. Fires complete. There's a first down right at the marker for Cam Coleman. Kentucky said the ball came loose, and an injured offensive lineman's got to waddle up to the line.
That's Jeremiah Wright, right guard.
Under a minute to play. Daniels near side, batted away, no flag. Clock stops at 52. J.Q. Hardaway on the coverage on Thompson.
Jeremiah Wright going to have to exit the game now due to that injury on the previous play. Too Tall Miller will replace him at right guard. He's filled in well there before this season.
52 seconds left. Pressure again. Daniels jumps and throws it out of bounds. He was inside the tackle box, and Mark Stoops, arms outstretched, begging to get an intentional grounding call. Eric Singleton was about 15 yards away.
Now Singleton did break his route off. It was 4 verts originally. Singleton shuts his route down, and Ashton Daniels sails it over his head, and that's why Stoops upset.
You can understand the pressure on Mark Stoops. 47 seconds left. Kentucky is 0-5 in the league this year. Daniels down the seam, complete for a first down to the 35-yard line to Preston Howard. They'll stop the clock to reset the chain. It's rolling again. They had to sub. They're holding them up by rule. About 10 seconds came off between plays. Daniels flushed. Incomplete. Batted down by Hardaway. And Kentucky is just trying to survive this final 25 seconds.
Oh, the length of J.Q. Hardaway on full display. You don't see a lot of 6'3" corners. And he's been able to angle those arms around multiple Auburn receivers and bat balls down. Decent protection for Daniels that time, but the coverage better. There was nowhere to go.
2nd and 10. Do you have an opportunity to run towards the sideline?
I think if you decide to do it fairly early, they can get away with it.
Justin Jones is the 3rd down back in this 2-minute offense. Daniels pressured from behind, off 1 foot, incomplete again. 20 seconds left. 3rd and 10. He has been off platform all night and on the move due to the Kentucky pressure.
That's the first time tonight, too, that I've seen some visible frustration from Ashton Daniels. Told us stories about his father early in his athletic career not allowing those things to happen, not allowing him to show that bad body language. But you can imagine the frustration of just not being able to get set up in the pocket.
See if Auburn has a miracle in its pocket. 3rd and 10. First start for Ashton Daniels. They bring the house again, and he's taken down. 7th sack of the night for Kentucky. Sam Green gets there, and the clock is Auburn's biggest enemy now. They have to hustle to get in position. With 3 seconds left, last play of the game. Daniels heaves it towards the end zone. Only Cats are there. It's Jordan Lovett with the interception, and Mark Stoops in Kentucky come on the road and get a 10-3 win. First league win of the season for the Cats. And you can see the pressure coming off of the shoulders of Kentucky's winningest coach. First win since their upset in Oxford last September. It ends a 10-game losing streak in the league. Connor Boley led the way. Kentucky's defense was sensational with 7 sacks. This was a Mark Stoops kind of game. He's with Alyssa Lang.
Coach, Tom Hart just said this was a Mark Stoops kind of game. You guys have faced adversity all season long. You did in this game. How was your team able to pull this one out on the road?
Just a team effort. So happy, so proud. You know, we've been getting better. We've been up and down. Like a lot of people, it's tough. Just grateful for this team, these players. They hung in there. They believe. They don't flinch. I love them.
7 sacks by your defense tonight. They swarmed Auburn's offense all night. What can you say about that group top to bottom?
Really proud of our defense. We didn't have our best effort a week ago, and we bounced back. And that's the pride that we're looking for. We knew how good their defense was as well. Proud of Cutter in this offense and hanging in there, making just enough plays.
Coach, this team has talked so much about the brotherhood that has grown throughout the course of the season. You at the top of that. What does this one mean to you and your career with this program?
It means an awful lot. You know, I can't lie. It's one victory, but we've been through a lot. And it's been a long time, let's be honest. And so it means a lot. It's It's emotional. You're trying to get me to cry.
I'm not.
All right, thank you.
Congrats, Coach.
Thank you.
Mark Stoops is a very proud man, and for good reason, but it has been a difficult road over the last year and a half. And he senses the frustration with the fan base. His athletic director senses it as well. Here's how it ended.
Watch the hips and shoulders open up here of Mason Murphy and face the sideline. That's going to give a direct path for the Kentucky defender to go right upfield, get a short corner, come up with the sack, and then the Hail Mary. Ashton Daniels, the throw was rushed. Not even enough time to get the Auburn receivers into the end zone on the Hail Mary, and Hugh Freeze. Obviously disappointment set in with how this game turned out for the Auburn Tigers, and Mark Stoops a lot to be excited about.
Some think he is coaching for his job. If he is, he made a major statement, but by winning on the road tonight, and still plenty of opportunities ahead for this Kentucky team. 10-3, the final score. Wildcats over the Tigers. For Alyssa Lang, Cole Kublik, our fantastic crew. I'm Tom Hart. Now time to get you to the studio to recap this wild day.